Hello, welcome to the 1 to 11 podcast with myself, Johnny, and Paul.
Yeah, let's just go with Paul.
Yeah,
Let's go with Paul.
we're not on the snap now. Um, this is our podcast where we try and create the first teams of various themes. So we've already done one, which was Italia 90s. So the best team from Serie A in the 90s, which was quite. There was quite a lot of agreement there, wasn't there?
I think it's one of those things where there was just locks, wasn't there? You know, your midfield, sorry, your defence had to have Maldini in it. It had to have Baresi. You were relatively confident on Baggio being in there in some way, shape, or form. And
yeah, there was some. The back five picked themselves effectively when we thought about it. It was just who was going to go next to Baggio, which provided the argument. But this one, we are sticking at home as we're England, and we are picking underappreciated England players.
And
so
I think the thing we need to talk about before this isn't we're not going out with this is the list. This is just our opinion. No. Just our opinion. So we wanted to get to a point of from what our interpretation of football was and from what we have seen of football. I was born in 1987. I know 90s, 2000s, 2010s football. I don't know from the 80s. I don't know that, for example, that Malcolm McDonald was the most lethal striker of all. He may well have been. I didn't see it. So I can't put that in towards my opinion. So from what I have seen of my experience of football, this is the 1 to 11 I have picked.
Exactly. It's very much based on the players we have seen, we have evidence of, and as well, it's opinion. There's no not very little statistical base on this. So with that, let's head in. So these are players who basically we don't think got enough caps for.
Unnecessarily didn't get the respect.
Yeah. So it's just they were underappreciated by the FA in their time. Whoever the representative was, be Capello, Ericsson, Venables,
Taylor.
So yeah.
The other thing within here as well for me is that this is something that, once again, is our opinion of this. So from the players that we felt deserved the recognition, but the person ahead of them was always in the England team and necessarily didn't deserve to be.
Yeah.
Or the England team was missing something from this. So we've had to go with the English formation of the time we know. So it is the 90s, 2000s. It's the English 4-4-2.
Yes.
There is no other formation this England team could work with, which also meant picking one particular position was impossible.
Yeah, very hard. I mean, it is notable that the only time we've ever been any good is when we strayed away from 4-4-2. 96 and
2018.
2018, with the notable exception of 2004, which we should have won, but
we had the best team in that tournament, and anybody who says otherwise is a liar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were a couple of metatarsals away from a winning that tournament. But yeah. Should we start at the back again?
Yeah, I think we work our way upwards. So I'm going to give you my first shout for goalkeeper. Nigel Martyn.
Yeah, I got the same one. Nigel Martyn was so unlucky that he came around the same time as possibly the best England goalkeeper ever.
And one of the things that we specialise in England, you look at the age that Shilton went to, you look at the age Seaman went to, You look at how long we held on to Joe Hart, how long we held on to Calamity James.
Yeah.
We're very reluctant to let go of a keeper, and I think this is something that you should really pick whoever's in form.
Yeah.
And that Leeds team, and I appreciate, John, you're a Leeds fan. I'm a Man United fan. So it's hard for me to be at a point where I can actively acknowledge Leeds United are a great team. Leeds are a very... I have a bit of a soft spot for them because I've been to the South Stand a few times with you, and they are the champions of Europe, blah, 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 blah. But Nigel Martyn in the late... I'd say from, even when he was in Palace, from the mid-90s to the mid-2000s, was one of the best English keepers and should have got more time.
Yeah. From sort of 99, he should have been the England number one. Seaman was old, quite frankly, and his legacy is always going to be tarnished by Ronaldinho. That could be numerous things.
Naeem. But we're talking England here, aren't we?
Yeah. But one of my the only time I've been to see David Seaman play football was at I went to see Tottenham, and the Tottenham fans were all doing. It's still, this is like 10 years later, still going, let's all do the Naeem. And I still made me laugh.
I think we should have taken a chance on Nigel Martyn. He made any team he went into better. Yeah. So Leeds were a better team when he was there. Everton were a better team when he was there.
Very much so. I remember we played against... We let him go to bring through Paul Robinson, who became an England goalkeeper. And he played against us, and he was magnificent. And I still believe, like, I'm not doing Robbo down, or Paul Robinson, but I really don't think we would have struggled as much if we'd have had Nigel Martyn. And it really pains me to say. But yeah. Do you know how many caps Nigel Martyn has?
No idea.
Do you want to have a guess?
4.
It's 23.
Really? I can't remember him being around the England squad.
He was always number 2, number 3, and it wasn't really until he was sort of just
2002.
Well, no, because
James.
Even then, he was replaced then by David James.
There's one other person I had as a shout for this. One other person I was considering, which was Tim Flowers.
Yeah, I always liked Flowers, but I never thought he was as good as Nigel Martyn.
No, but you don't win the league as a bad player.
No, exactly.
You don't. I think he was decent. And
yeah.
Obviously, with what happened to him at the start of this year with his management career, he's someone I just feel sorry for. So it's kind of, who do I feel sorry for? Goalkeeper, England, Tim Flowers.
Yeah. No, he was very good. I imagine he got less caps than Nigel Martyn. I'm just going to look it up.
Yeah, he's
11, which actually is still more than I'd have thought.
I agree.
But yeah, I would say Nigel Martyn is the better keeper.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. So
okay.
If we then move to right back,
I think there's one very obvious right back.
Lee Dixon.
Hey, we don't check this beforehand. We like to surprise each other, but yeah.
22 caps for England.
Yeah. a lot of that Arsenal back four, you could argue, really were underappreciated by England.
You could have just put anyone other than Adams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, as well, like growing up, if you would say what was, just name the best back four in England, without even thinking, the Arsenal back four.
Because the Arsenal back four lasted 10 years.
Yeah.
Eventually, Tony Adams was the only one of my favourite stats in football. Tony Adams is the only man to captain a league-winning team in 3 decades.
Yeah. But yeah, he was held out at the start by Paul Parker, had a few caps, and then sort of the emergence of the Nevilles.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Gary Neville was a fantastic player, and I think very, for me, underappreciated how good he was. Because when he had his injuries and when he came back at the end, I like the way he retired.
It when a player just realizes, "No, I'm done." And
when he got ran around ragged by West Brom, and after the game, he went, "I'm done
here." Yeah, and do you know what? It could be very easy for for players to think, "Oh no," and just go down a league, and there's something quite noble about. I guess if you know that you can probably go and work for Sky, and it makes it easier. But anyway, that's.
I think the one thing about obviously Gary Neville is not underappreciated, and for me, there's one particular thing which Gary Neville will always have a part in my conscience for.
This could be the most dramatic story of the season. It's Torres
the goalgasm. Yeah, the goalgasm was the one for me. But Lee Dixon was a player who I don't remember him ever being in bad form at Arsenal. And also, he was one of the few players that in the kind of survived the early years of Wenger.
Yeah, he was still a good player in the early years of Wenger. I mean, they've never really didn't really replace him until Sagna?
Lauren came in, but I don't think Lauren was a massively important part of that Invincibles team.
No, I don't.
Sagna was class, though. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Have you ever watched I was watching it the other night, and they repeated it. It was Vieira and Roy Keane. They came together for ITV, and they made them pick their ultimate first 11 of teammates, and in it they for right back they went with Lauren, and I was like, I think Keane, you probably could have fought harder for Gary Neville there.
Yeah, but I think Lee Dixon is someone who should have played for England more.
Yeah, really should have.
I mean, yeah, Gary Neville was very good, but at the same time, for me, obviously, it does bring up the long-standing argument of form versus class.
I guess as well, for Venables had the wing backs. Neville was a more natural fit for a wing back and whatever else.
Well, Neville overlapped more, didn't he? And they liked lapping.
And he sort of So
the Trent Alexander-Arnold of the 90s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't say that with a straight face.
But slam dunk there as well. Lee Dixon, I think, also quite underappreciated as a pundit.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
And
also as a monkey namer.
Yes.
just look up Lee Dixon monkey name, and then thank us later.
I'll put it on our Twitter later. So centre backs. There's a few here. I'm thinking one of them we've definitely matched.
So, the first one I'm going to put forward is Jonathan Woodgate.
I think we're going to match on both of them.
So, the second one I've then got is Ledley King.
Oh, I didn't go Ledley King. This is the furthest back I went. I went Steve Bruce.
I put Steve Bruce first. And I think there's two things. Ledley King, for me, was an amazing defender.
So skillful.
And also, you can see just the awareness. Towards the end, the man couldn't train. He didn't get involved in training. He just did a little bit of cardio on an exercise bike and then played. Could just awareness and should honestly, great for Tottenham fans. You've got this great club man, this stalwart, but you see what moving did for Sol Campbell.
Yeah, I didn't even think of Ledley King, and I'm quite happy to concede on Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce was a very, very good player.
He was. He wasn't great. I think
He
it was just the fact that he got no caps.
Yeah, I think that's unfair for me. You see, he was the archetypal English centre back.
He was. Yeah, he wasn't. He wouldn't get on in today's game.
No, he'd be a great League One defender.
Yeah. Yes. Which, once again, it feels like we're putting him down, which is not what we're doing. But
no, I mean the thing that he had was just he came into that Man United team and they started performing better at the back.
Yeah.
There's one player I'm going to talk about later in midfield. I can't tell you what they do, but teams play better with that person in it. And for me, Man United getting that level of success at the back, Steve Bruce was an essential part of that. I even remember changing the sandwiches I had for lunch as a child so I could eat like Steve Bruce. I had jam and banana sandwiches for lunch because of Steve Bruce.
I remember you doing that. Because I used to have banana on toast because that's what Gordon Strachan ate.
It's all about potassium.
Breakfast.
The secret to being a footballer is potassium. If only we knew that now.
If you want to make it in the early 90s, bananas was the way. So
Jonathan Woodgate is overlooked because of he scored a own goal and got a red card in his Madrid days.
Yeah.
And
no,
also,
he was also another factor is just how long he was involved in the court case.
I mean, there's always this kind of feeling that he's a bit of a knob.
Yeah, and he doesn't come out well from it, from the case, but what a player he was! Like, just unfortunately the best centre back we've ever had at Leeds is Rio Ferdinand, and I can't say that without bearing a grudge, but
you got 30 million quid for him.
Yeah, I know, but it all got lost in it. But it's just the fact he went to Man United.
Where he went, yeah. I mean, the 2002 World Cup showed me how excellent that man was. I remember the England-Nigeria game, watching it in the school hall at like stupid o'clock in the morning, and well, it was for me. To be honest, any time before 11 was stupid o'clock in the morning to me. But I remember being sat in the school hall. Julius Agahawa seemed like the most lethal front man in the world. And Rio Ferdinand was just stopping him in his tracks, always catching up with him. And Jonathan Woodgate, for me, is someone who gets overlooked. You can't put into words how good he was at Leeds.
Yeah.
You can't put into words how good he was at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Real Madrid don't sign bad players.
No, they just don't, do they? And it was just so classy. But as a footballer, just really.
He came into the Middlesbrough team after Real Madrid and shored them up.
Tottenham. he won a League Cup final with Tottenham.
He also lost one.
But
yeah, people forget how. I forgot he was at Tottenham. To be honest with you,
yeah, beat
you
Chelsea.
forget how good he was.
Yeah.
You forget how good he was.
Also, if you put him against Ledley King, that is the most injury-prone defence that's ever going to happen ever.
Oh, absolutely! I could beat them in a foot race. Probably 5 out of 10 times.
Yeah, but
yeah, just solid players who. Well, solid players is wrong. Players who read the game superbly well, and I think one of the things that we've always had in England is we've always had decent centre backs.
yeah.
I can't think of a time where John Terry is an arsehole. From all accounts, obviously he's done fantastic charity work. But from a man who made fun of Americans while he was urinating on a bar on September the 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
Allegedly, that always sticks in your always sticks
You
in your mind.
combine two incidents there. He did take the mick at the Americans, and on 9/11, the day of 9/11, and he also separately peed on a bar. I know.
Oh, good.
Because I was there.
Oh, wow.
Me and Gary went on a night out in Essex, and at one point someone went, "Is that John Terry pissing on the bar?" And I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Fantastic. So I think John Terry was a phenomenal player. You could take away the incidents, the cheating, the whatever. He read the game well. Rio Ferdinand read the game very well. Woodgate and King.
Sol Campbell as well. These are the players they had to contest with.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Gareth Southgate, the current England manager. So they were contesting for a spot against him, weren't they? So those are the two centre backs I've got. Are you in agreement on those? The one joy of this is we don't have to agree, John.
We don't have to agree, but for consensus, so we can have a final 1-11. I'm sticking Ledley King in because my main thing was I forgot about Ledley King.
I was thinking of I was thinking of players outside of your Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and I got to him. So left back is for me is a little bit like Lee Dixon. Nigel Winterburn.
I forgot about Nigel Winterburn. I've got Leighton Baines.
Leighton Baines got his chance, and for me, Leighton Baines didn't get in the team because we had the best left back in the world.
Yeah.
And anybody who claims otherwise is an arse.
He was the best in the world for 10 years.
He was. And anybody who disagrees, look at his trophy cabinet.
Yeah. Once again, an arsehole, but apparently. But
ever since he cheated on our Cheryl, the nation's sweetheart.
Well, not really.
At the time, the nation's sweetheart.
I mean, she was only a racist who punched someone in a bar toilet back then. But yeah, Nigel Winterburn, that's a good shout.
Who did you? So you had Baines. I think for me, Leighton Baines was someone who was appreciated. He was getting into the team.
He was in the team once Cole sort of went on the slide. But there was a sort of 6-year period where, there was Wayne Bridge ahead of him, who was a good player, but, he had his time at the top was actually quite short.
Yeah, I think the thing with Wayne Bridge, again, was that he wasn't Ashley Cole.
Yeah.
And but Nigel Winterburn was one for me because who was England's left back in the 90s? Stuart Pearce.
Oh, yeah.
Stuart Pearce was very, very good.
Yeah.
But the fact that Nigel Winterburn got 2 England caps.
That is
a man who you look in terms of a man who won the First Division twice, the Premier League, 2 FA Cups, the League Cup, the Charity Shield, and the Cup Winners' Cup.
Yeah, that's a bit of a CV for a man with 2 caps. And
you even look at his Wikipedia page. He made his second and final appearance nearly 4 years later against Germany. The regular England left back was Stuart Pearce. Stuart Pearce was great. Stuart Pearce was everything that typified England, but at the same time, that man was winning trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
And there was
that's
a point, especially like
he was better than Graham fucking so.
yeah, I'll grant you that. So yeah, I'll concede on Nigel Winterburn because guy got CV.
Yeah, and for me, the Arsenal backline, as I say to you. So
it's not, especially because like you look at the England team now, and you want Trent Alexander-Arnold. You want I can't even think who our left back is right now.
Ben Chilwell.
Ben Chilwell. You want those players who can bomb forward because we play attractive football. When we were playing, even like U96, it wasn't like watching Brazil. It's not like watching Barcelona on a good day. It was pretty attritional.
England in Euro 96 had the best striker in world football at the time.
Yeah.
Second, Ronaldo. Alan Shearer was. For me, Alan Shearer is underappreciated, but clearly 63 England caps, 30 goals.
Yeah, he'd have carried on as well if he retired.
Yes.
Nigel
Winterburn is where I'm going.
Yes. Okay, so that's what our defence looks like, which I think looks a pretty decent team to me. Let's move on to the midfield. So once again, we'll go right to left. I'll go first because I made you go on the a lot of the defence. So my right midfielder was Steve McManaman.
Total agreement.
Whee.
When you have Zinedine Zidane saying this person should play for their country, that person should play for their country.
Yeah. He was unlucky as well that
the nation's darling was at right midfield.
Yeah, but you remember the left midfielder, Darren Anderton.
Yeah,
it was good, but I mean, come on.
They could have bought in the inverted winger.
Yeah, I mean he could play on the left as well. That's where he eventually did play for England coming from the left. But yeah, he never really. It was all year 2000 was the one time he got given a shot, and it's not his fault. We can't defend.
Yeah, I think the problem that we have is that we put almost too much faith in him by the time Euro 2000 rolled around.
Yeah,
because he was the Real Madrid player now.
He was playing very well for Real Madrid as well. Scoring a Champions League final.
When you're scoring a pump kick in the Champions League final.
As well, he scored some beautiful goals for Real Madrid.
I don't think it helps that he was replaced at Real Madrid by the man who kept him out of the England team as well.
Yeah.
But I feel he's someone who, especially when you come to kind of the 99 to the period he played for Real Madrid, he should have got more England recognition.
Yeah, really should have. He was quite versatile as well. He could have done whatever they wanted with him, but they didn't. and it's a shame because by the time he came back to England, he was a shell of the player he was, and as well, he was then given the manager who really mismanaged him at year 2000 in Keegan. So not good. But yeah, so Steve McManaman, you are our underappreciated right midfielder.
Absolutely, and I just think an underappreciated player because he played for Liverpool, and unless you support Liverpool, you don't like Liverpool players.
Yeah.
Because he played for City before City had the money.
Yeah. So, centre mid. Who's your first central midfielder?
The first central midfielder I have is Mark Noble.
I haven't got Mark Noble. You want to take me through your other centre midfielder, and we'll contrast and compare.
The other centre midfielder I have is the one I was talking about earlier in terms of, I don't know what they did, because they didn't have one part of their game that made them expert, but teams just played better with them, which was David Batty.
Ooh. See, I love David Batty. Did you see he emerged from his hiding hole, it's a shame we had one Leeds legend emerge and we lost another one today. Yeah, do you know what? I have got another Leeds player, but not David Batty.
Who'd you have?
I had his Jonathan Woodgate's court case mate,
Lee Bowyer,
who, when he was playing for Leeds, was just a wonderful player. A box to box. He could be a nasty little player as well. He was a nasty little human at times, but he could be but like sort of a goal scoring return that apart from Frank Lampard really was sort of unmatched. Male Scholes as well. I forgot about him. But yeah,
the problem with Bowyer is the point he came in was the emergence of Steven Gerrard.
Yeah. You had Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes. When he was at his best, these players were starting to come through.
And also you had players, kind of stalwarts of the England team, who were coming to the end. Paul Ince, Paul Gascoigne. 98, 99.
Yeah. Another underappreciated player, Merson.
Merson was the one I went for Mark Noble just because you think of some of the players that have played ahead of Mark Noble. Yeah. Joey Barton has an England cap. Joey Barton was a decent player. I know he's once again falls into the not necessarily a nice person category.
Yeah.
Jimmy Bullard got in the England squad.
Yeah.
Mark Noble has been. I feel he's been. he's. I feel he's been really good.
He's been great for for what has at times been a good West Ham team and a very bad West Ham team.
But he's been the one constant within that. He's always been a decent player.
I think for Mark Noble, it's almost a disservice that he's sort of a 6, 7 out of 10 player, isn't he? You're going to get that every week, which means he probably doesn't stand out. Whereas you have someone like, I'm trying to think of someone at the moment, like someone like the
Mason Mount,
Morrison at Leicester, Maddison even, apologies, who are going to be quiet for games, but then will produce a 9, a 10, and that means they just stand out more. a Grealish.
Yeah, I think the thing with Mark Noble is that kind of, I was thinking kind of like the early 2010s, we needed a workhorse. Rather than just trying to make Lampard and Gerrard work. You needed a, Owen Hargreaves did a really great job of just being that workhorse.
Yeah.
But I just felt, do you know what, I felt Mark Noble could have been that workhorse. I'm happy to concede on Mark Noble.
Well, do you know what? Hold fire. Because I've got Lee Bowyer and I've also got Michael Carrick, who I always thought...
A criminally underrated player. Criminally underrated. Because once again, a little bit...
Probably where I thought he was overrated. And the calls for him to be underrated were a little too much. But...
Look at Man United from the moment he left.
Yeah.
That's the difference for me.
And you're looking at the team. You've got Dixon, Winterburn, McManaman. You know, or look at the trophy cabinet of them. I bet if you added them up all together, it wouldn't come anything to Michael Carrick's.
Oh, yeah, he's also very unselfish player, Michael Carrick.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
For a long time, I really didn't like him because I got bored of the commentators every game going, "Oh, he's so underrated," and he became like the most overrated, underrated player in the world to me. And at some point, you just had to, just say if every time he's touching a ball, you're telling me he's underrated, he's probably just rated.
Yeah.
But even then, it doesn't matter. He got a minuscule amount of caps.
Absolutely. So you look at his career, for someone who won 5 Premier Leagues and the Champions League, to get 34 caps for England in 14 years.
Yeah. He was the and the one main constant in that Man United team for so long. So yeah,
absolutely. You look at, I remember when we paid 18 million for him from Tottenham.
Yeah.
And people looked at us like we were insane.
Yeah.
And
at one point he got a contract extension, and there was like, oh my god, why are you extending his contract? And then the next year it was like, oh yeah, it's because he's really good.
He just controlled. He just controlled the game. He knew where to be.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. I mean, you consider now, like, our captain is Jordan Henderson.
People who say he should be the league, he should be the player of the year. Get in the bin. Get in the
sea. Get in the sea. Yeah. So, who are we going to pick as our consensus? You had Batty and Noble. I had Bowyer and Carrick.
How about Batty and Carrick? As a Leeds and United fan, that keeps us both happy.
Keeps us both happy. There's a consensus. And
also, they'd nullify each other as well. Because
Batty would just kick the crap out of everyone behind him. And Carrick could fed it all together. So left mid.
So I thought there's only one underappreciated left midfielder for England, and I'm going to Euro 2004 for this. Paul Scholes.
Yeah. Oh, I felt so sorry for him at that tournament because he was quite clearly the best midfielder.
Absolutely.
Do you remember all the issues we've had at left midfield when we had Wayne Bridge, Kieran Dyer? Do you remember the lean Heskey years? We had Emil Heskey as a left midfielder. Until
somebody went, it's Joe Cole. He might play there. Oh, yeah, there's the answer we've been looking at for years.
Yeah.
It's very hard to put a man who got 66 England caps as underrated.
But he had to quit, didn't he? effectively, because he stopped. He didn't
His
want to
family
play.
life and his club career were more important.
Yeah. The only person I didn't want to like, because of the dearth of left midfielders we've had. The only person I came close to was, I thought, well, could Merson play at left mid?
I could go with that.
But yeah, other than that, like it's really been a dearth since. Yeah, I mean, we've had Darren Anderson.
Darren Anderson is the reason. Darren Anderson's knees are the reason Darren Anderson's underappreciated.
But he was appreciated in his time. He got more caps than probably a player of his
Ilk.
Of his quality. Probably he got as many as he deserved.
30 caps.
Fine. He was very good for a period. But yeah. But it really is clutching at straws.
I don't want to
give it to Scholes because I feel, for one, if we put Scholes in it, he'd just retire.
Yeah.
So Merson.
I think if anything, yeah, let's put Merson there just because. And also, it's because it's England and it's left wing. I want to put nobody because we've never really had anybody to be underappreciated left wing.
It's true. Like when there's a call for, oh my god, we need to call up Steve Guppy, you know you're in trouble.
Get me Alan Thompson's number immediately.
Yeah, I think they're both one cap wonders, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah. Plus, I'm just gonna have Merson because I think it'd be a laugh.
I'd be very comfortable with that.
Cool. So, here's our team so far. Which, yeah, would do a job. So, forwards. There's quite a few here.
So, I'm going to bring up one which people forget how many goals he scored in the Premier League.
Go on.
Les Ferdinand.
I didn't have him. And as soon as I put the two people I did pick, I then remembered him. But then I couldn't put him in because I loved the other two people more. And my backups I still think were better than him.
So who have you got? So I'll tell you do you want to know who my other one is as well?
Go on.
Andy Cole.
Andy Cole was my first backup. So I have the player coming off the forward and a forward, which I just had to put Letizia in there.
Yeah, I can give you that one. That man single-handedly kept Southampton afloat for 10 years.
Yeah. And
also, you think about what he could have done for England, especially around the 98 World Cup, him off Shearer. Just
yeah, what a player from the bench we could have had.
And yeah, just
at least
something that you can't plan for.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted with. That's what I liked about Letizia. And you know, great shout. Didn't even come into my mind. Didn't even come into consideration for me.
Yeah. He was so underrated, and it's such a shame that sort of we've gone for players since the 90s. And of course, Glenn Hoddle was a player who probably should have got more England caps. And he was responsible for wasting Letizier's talents as well. Like the England A, was it the A international or B international?
England B.
England B, where he scored a hat-trick on the eve of World Cup 98. It didn't go.
Yeah. And that's a very good point. I've just had an utter epiphany when I was thinking of wide midfielders. and I'd like to go back if that's okay.
Go on.
Ray Parlour.
Yeah. Should we stick him on the left?
Yeah, let's put Ray Parlour on the left.
Okay. So here's our midfield now.
It's when you were talking about the England '98 team. You remember the faith healer Eileen Drury?
Oh yeah.
It's the story of, it's in Paul Gascoigne's book, of what Ray Parlour did. What Eileen Drury did, she went to every single person and put her hands either side of their head to kind of gauge their aura.
Yeah.
And she's got all 30 of the potential England squad lined up. And they get to Ray Parlour. She puts her hands on his head. And apparently he goes, short back and slides, love, please. And apparently that's the reason he didn't go to the '98 World Cup.
He was very good for sort of a 4-year period, really. He was one of the few English players to last the few years of the Wenger period. But
and for me, it's only Ray Parlour.
I hate Tim Lovejoy, so yeah, let's stick him in just for that. If you don't know what we're on about, just Google "It's Only Ray Parlour."
And thank us later.
So, my other, so I had Andy Cole as my first backup. I also had Ian Wright, but I didn't pick him because he's got 33 caps.
I think with Ian Wright as well. Ian Wright straddled 2 eras.
Lineker,
then Shearer. And a little bit like when we talk about some of the left backs, the reason they didn't get in is because Ashley Cole was better than them. Ian Wright was a phenomenal forward.
Yeah.
But Shearer was better. Sheringham was... See, I've always got a place in my heart for Sheringham because I'm a United fan. And the treble season.
Ian Wright was the top scorer in 1992. But didn't go to the Euros.
Yeah, but he's... Yes.
But Taylor was awful as an England manager, but yeah, should have gone. Yeah. And in '98, his performance against Italy will always stay with me because he was so good in that playoff win.
Each of the 7 seasons that followed the 1990 World Cup, Ian Wright never scored fewer than 23 goals a season.
See, but
I think. Do you know what? I'm gonna put him in there. When you look at the players who were picked ahead of him by Graham Taylor. So I'm just going to read out 4 names for you here. Nigel Clough.
Yeah.
Paul Stewart.
Yeah.
David Hirst.
I like David Hirst.
Brian Deane.
Dean, fine. But yeah, nowhere near as good as Ian Wright.
So yeah, for me, I would say that.
Do you know what? Going slightly off topic, have you listened to his appearance on Desert Island Discs? It was about 2 months ago, maybe a bit longer. But check it out. They have a podcast, whatever. Check it out. It is really, really beautiful. And I like Ian Wright, but I came out of it and I just love him. And the only time I felt a bit emotional over the last few weeks was whilst we've been in lockdown and stuck in a room. Was on a Tuesday on the Guardian thing, David Squires does a thing, and one of the things to look up was 24 lovely things about football, and one of them was Ian Wright and his old teacher, Mr. Pigden. And
I've seen the video of him and his old teacher.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It genuinely made me cry.
Yeah.
But then again, Paddington 2 made me cry. So, sometimes I have a weird filter for this.
It's a beautiful film.
If anybody says Paddington 2 isn't the best film of the 2010s, I will find their address and I will make them watch it with me at force.
It's brilliant. It is really brilliant. The only one I'm going to mention is Robbie Fowler.
Had his chance. Had his chance for me. 26 caps, 7
caps.
goals. You know what? I'm going to go Ian Wright.
I'm going to go with Ian Wright.
And for me, I'd almost pick Andy Cole for the same reason as Ian Wright.
Yeah.
Andy Cole at Newcastle. Andy Cole in the first few seasons at United was prolific.
He was brilliant. Even at Fulham, and he was a good player.
City and
yeah,
he was. We had this kind of dearth of forwards in the late 90s, didn't we? When you think about it in terms of Fowler, Collymore, Ferdinand, Shearer, Sheringham, Owen, Wright, Dion Dublin.
Yeah,
league top scorer in the 99 season.
Really. Yeah, we were, and it's all pointless because we won nothing.
We won Le Tournoi. Never forget that.
Yeah.
We won the Confederations Cup before it was a thing.
We did that. Yeah, true.
And if anybody doesn't know what Le Tournoi is, you know that Roberto Carlos free kick, the bananas, that happened there.
Yeah. Pretty much about the only thing that did happen.
Apart from us winning.
So yeah, I think that's our team.
Yeah. So just for confirmation, we have Nigel Martyn in goal.
Yeah.
We have Lee Dixon at right back. We have Ledley King and Jonathan Woodgate as centre backs.
Yep.
We have Nigel Winterburn as left back.
Yep.
At right midfield, we have Steve Macamanaman.
Yep.
The Spanish commentator.
Yep.
Another YouTube-worthy moment. Centre mid, we have the terrifying prospect of David Batty and Michael Carrick.
Yeah.
A functional English hard-working midfield.
Yeah.
And at left mid, Ray Parlour.
Yeah.
In this week's Famine.
We forgot about him and just. But at least we hadn't stopped recording when we remembered him.
Yeah. You know what's going to happen if we put anything like this on social media? We introduce this to people. People go, "Why didn't you think of?" Oh yeah, him. Yeah.
And it's because we forgot.
Yeah, because it's our opinion. If you don't like our opinion, sod off.
If you don't like our opinion, get in touch.
Yeah, if you don't like our opinion, please tell us about it. We'd be really interested.
We love this. Is what we want to start.
Give us money on Patreon. So up front we have the dynamic duo of Ian Wright and Andrew Cole.
Did we go for Andrew Cole or did we go for Le Tissier?
Oh, you needed to find a place for Le Tissier, didn't you? Le Tissier and Wright. Yeah, Le Tissier and Wright.
Nice.
So basically, we've picked the underappreciated team of the 90s.
Yeah.
Plus Michael Carrick.
And Jonathan Woodgate.
And Ledley King.
Yeah. So
this episode this week is essentially fuck you, Graham Taylor.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Up yours, Taylor and Hoddle. Which is a shame to Hoddle because he was, until Southgate, pretty much our best manager we've had. But yeah, he had
to be
trouble.
fair, Sam Allardyce has a 100% record.
He does. He also has.
People forget that.
He also has a 100% record for potentially taking bribes and and drinking red wine from a pint glass.
But that makes him go up in my estimation, though.
Oh yeah.
So that's the team. If you don't like it, please give us other suggestions. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. If you have a team you want to put forward for anything, so should you be a Watford fan who wants to share your first 11, please get in touch.
We'll
where,
expect Alec Chamberlain and Nigel Gibbs.
Yeah, for those ones we will prod, but we won't get too much involved. But yeah, we just want to hear from you. So please get in touch. But until then, until our next episode, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Cheers. Stay safe.